Ohio, the heartland of America. More than 11 million people call the Buckeye State home, and for nearly 25 years, Shelley and Joe were two of them. Now Joe's son Owen is seeing for the first time literally where his father grew up. Owen will experience quite a few firsts on this trip, and they won't all be good. In July, they drove more than 500 miles to Wayne County, Ohio, to visit family for 8 days, and that's where this journey begins. After they review this campground, stick around, because Joe and Shelley are going to share a few experiences that are unique to this neck of the woods. Welcome to the Full Hookup.
Meadow Lake Park is a 26-acre campground in Wooster, Ohio, about 50 miles south of Cleveland. There are 165 campsites, some of which are long-term. The park is surrounded by miles of dairy farms and cornfields, easily making it one of the most peaceful and quiet parks we've ever stayed in. It's like an oasis in the corn. Check-in was simple. Someone escorted us to the area where we would be staying and just let us pick out which campsite we wanted. We stayed from Saturday, July 1 through Sunday, July 9th. The weekly rate was $200 plus $40 for the 8th day. We stayed in site number 47, which was close to the bathroom since our tiny RV doesn't have one. There is no poured concrete pad or even gravel at each site, so when it rains, things can get pretty mushy, and you aren't allowed to lay down any kind of rug directly on the grass. Visitors are $3 each, and if they arrive when it's raining, they can stand in the mush with you. We used 30 amp electric and site water with a filter. They do offer some 50 amp sites as well if you have a big rig. I want to show you the bathrooms right away because that's a big deal for a lot of people, and it may be a deal breaker for you. We knew they were pit toilets in advance, but we didn't know they would only be cleaned once during our 8-day stay. In the men's room, there were 2 urinals and a stall with no door on it. Shelley said the women's stall did have a door on it. We never ran out of toilet paper on the men's side, but on the ladies' side, they were out from Sunday to Wednesday. The roof is clear plastic. There are no lights and nothing provided to clean your hands, so come prepared. There were also a couple of weird cutouts on the wall, so people can see straight into the bathroom if they want to. If you or your kids hate bugs, this is not the bathroom for you. And this is what I meant by not all of Owen's experiences in Ohio would be great. This was his first pit toilet experience. It probably put some hair on his chest, but he didn't care for it. We all survived. Just be aware of these things up front. If your camper has a toilet, this may not mean a hill of beans to you. These are the showers. They're sort of a modular trailer looking thing with one shower on each side. This is another area where there are a fair amount of bugs because the doors swing open at night and the lights inside draw the critters. There's a chair, bench, mirror, a few hooks on the wall. The floors were generally wet all the time, and like the bathrooms, it was also cleaned only once during our stay. They cost 25 cents for 5 minutes of running water, but that running water was hot and pressure was good. We brought our own firewood and grate to cook on, but they really had the best deal on firewood we've ever seen. 3 of these large bundles were $10 total, and they'll even deliver it for another $5. There is a tennis and basketball court, though I'm not sure how much they get used, and they could use a little TLC. There's also a shuffleboard court that pools water and could use a little cleanup. We flipped the Paddleboat on edge to empty the water from the seats, and the kids enjoyed using it a couple times. Life preservers are provided, and the boat is free to use. Although there is a dedicated fishing lake at the back of the park, we saw as many or more people fishing in the swimming area. They have a rope that's supposed to divide the swimming area from the fishing area, but come on. There were even a few lost bobbers and probably hooks floating around on the swimming side. And take a close look at the water on the swimming side. The lake videos speak for themselves. My son spent some time at the playground, but he described it as old and unstable. Kinda like his dad. It was a simple playground, and we've probably just been spoiled by the larger commercial grade versions elsewhere. Heads up, it's a big litter box for the geese. Fortunately, the park was not at full capacity when we visited, or there would have been another camper between us and this pop-up, which would have been pretty tight. The fishing lake behind the tree line at the back of the campground was great. It's a catch and release lake, and there are some huge fish here. We saw catfish that were easily 25 inches long. We had our son and 2 grandchildren, and all of us caught fish here. This was the first time Owen caught a fish, and it was a proud moment. Most, if not all, of the campers back here were long-term guests, and most were unoccupied during our stay. When the dumpster near us filled up, it smelled like a dead animal for a day, but was emptied the next morning. Good morning! Fortunately, we don't sleep in, and neither does anyone else. Because the park butts up against a large cornfield, which looks beautiful during the day, an impressive number of fireflies fill them at night. This video does not do it justice. So if you're not from here, you might be asking yourself, what else is there to do besides count fireflies and corn cobs? Although we live 500 miles from this park, I grew up less than 5 minutes from it, and Shelley was only 20 minutes away. We know the area, the people, and the food, so don't just sit there. Let's get moving, and the first stop is a big one, Amish Country. You'll have to do most of your own research on the Amish culture and religion. On the rural roads of Ohio, drive carefully, especially over hills and around curves. Pass with respect when you see an Amish family traveling by horse and buggy. In some parts, there will be many of them, and if you are looking at your phone or speeding, it can literally be fatal. If you are not familiar with the Amish community and stumble across it, you may wonder if you've wandered into someone filming a period piece. Amish country is not a specific place, but a phrase we just use to describe the rural parts of Ohio that have a larger population of Amish. If you drive the right areas, you may be lucky enough to see a group of men building a barn, young men plowing the fields using older traditional methods, or the barefooted children playing together outside or going to school. One of our primary interests when we visit is the food. The Amish know how to cook well, and there are a few excellent buffet-style restaurants in Amish country that will blow you away. One of our favorites is Farmstead in the town of Berlin. The hot bar and cold bar are outstanding in quality and variety. Some of the restaurants also offer home-baked pies, cakes, and pastries. Whichever Amish restaurant you choose, you may feel the sudden urge to sit in a rocking chair and just relax for a bit. Amish communities typically have some pretty attractive views. Within the Amish community are several world-class cheesemakers. Guggisberg Swiss has been the world champion cheesemaker at least once and the runner-up several times. They've also won U.S. championships as well as Ohio State Fair top prizes. Visit babyswiss.com to read up on the interesting history of Guggisberg. Heine's Cheese House is the other must-stop cheese shop for us, and you can even watch them make the cheese. Explore this countryside and you may find some farm-fresh eggs for sale at the end of a driveway or a beautiful array of flowers at a country store. No Amish country tour is complete without a stop at Lehman's hardware store in Kidron. It's a store on the outside, but inside it's like 50 stores. It's easy to get lost in there, I'm not exaggerating. Notice the sign that reads East Lobby. There's a lot of space here. It feels like they started with one store and just kept adding on. Where else can you buy a tent, a puzzle, a wheel of award-winning cheese, a knife, locally made sauces, and then sit in an Amish buggy, or buy some hand-carved Amish artwork before sitting down with a slice of pie and coffee, and then take home an amazing retro-looking refrigerator? Nowhere. You'll find room after room of interesting surprises. They have an incredible assortment of sodas, from real sugar cream soda to dill pickle or turkey gravy flavored soda. Something for everyone. If your kids get lost, look for them in the toy area. If your spouse gets lost, pray you have the car keys. One of my favorite areas of the store is the kitchen gadgets area. You may find some newly engineered way to cut an apple or find some old school traditional way to grind wheat without electricity. I love it. Back to the English world. Let's talk more food. You need great coffee? Check out the Shore House Coffee Roasting Company in Wooster. Grab a sweet scone or muffin and a hot coffee, then just sit and people watch. For lunch, Bishop's Fine Food, which was a drive-in when I was growing up in Madisonburg. They have relocated several times, but their onion rings are exactly the same and are truly the star of the show. Yes, I had a burger, but I'm not even showing you what it looks like. These crunchy battered onion rings are exactly where it's at. They still have the original sign that used to hang at the drive-thru more than 40 years ago, but you'll be paying more than 60 cents for a burger. For dinner, I have a couple suggestions for you. Marie's Pizza in Wadsworth is one of the best pizza places in the area. Coachy House is worth mentioning, but they don't let you eat inside anymore because of COVID, so forget I said that. The champion of champions is DeVore's Hoppekin Garden. It's one of 4 Barberton, Ohio chicken houses that have competed with each other for many years. The chicken is simple but legendary. Since I was old enough to run, I would dunk my scalding hot fries in the ice-cold applesauce, and it was magic. Just Google Barberton Chicken to read about the Serbian backstory, and you'll find a lot of people along the way who love this chicken. On this trip, we bought at least 2 dozen cream sticks from Bueller's Grocery. These are not Long Johns, the crappy knockoff sold in the South and other parts of the country. These are soft, fresh, and filled with a cream that is only rivaled by the Amish Country stores. Maple flavor is our top choice. The store has a unique way of getting your groceries to your car by using a conveyor belt and numbering system. It's just something you need to experience. I've never seen another store like it. Also, one of the few places where you can get foot-long hot dogs and buns, which are great over the campfire. My dad retired from Rubbermaid, and if you go looking for the Rubbermaid store, you'll find it's been replaced by 3 floors of Ace Hardware. And who started Ace Hardware? Why, the same Bueller family who brought you those beautiful cream sticks. But they didn't just gut the historic building and make it an Ace Hardware. They preserved it and left traces of its history on every floor, including this old-time elevator, which when I was a kid had a human operator inside who would close the gate and ask you what floor you were going to. We're going to conclude our tour in the city of Orrville by starting with breakfast at Mrs. J's. Grab some sausage gravy, biscuits and grits, or if you time it right, a cheeseburger and fries. Some of you are old enough to remember entering through the back door and seeing Mrs. J herself cutting potatoes. The food is prepared in plain sight, not far from your table. Orrville is also very proudly home to Smuckers. Look in your cupboard right now, and you almost certainly have something from this company. They probably make the only jelly you buy. Smuckers has an open-to-the-public store where you can see the many brands they own and take as much of it home as you like. You may be surprised to find out which brands they actually own. Find out more on their website, or if you're in the area, the store is absolutely a must-stop. They have a room dedicated to their history, and I believe Owen read all of it. If you get tired of man-standing, you can take a load off and just daydream about peanut butter. You ever drive inside of a convenience store? Well, in Ohio you can. When we pulled in, Owen said, "I'm very confused. You can get chips, pop, cigarettes, and they'll even throw a couple of 12-packs of beer in the back seat for you." If you happen to be in Orrville around July 4th, you may suspect they have a huge homeless population because the streets are littered with blankets and chairs. But the locals are actually super excited about the annual parade and start marking their territory days in advance so they can get the best seat. This is not your average 4th of July parade. Frito-Lay throws bags of chips. Smith Dairy throws out full-size drumstick ice cream cones and popsicles, and this parade lasts an hour and 20 minutes, no matter how hot it is outside. It's a sight to see. Even the Amish kids come out for it. After the parade, check out the Orrville Park where you can zipline, swing, ride a real merry-go-round, the kind that you used to fall off at 35 miles an hour as a kid. If that's not your thing, also in the park is the Orrville Carnival. A ride band costs you about $25 for unlimited rides like this throwy-uppy thing. This is all happening at the same time, folks, and we're not done yet. In addition to fun rides and a fun house, there's a slew of fair food that will make you question your life choices, and this carnival continues into the night, concluding with a fireworks show that is the best in the area. And speaking of conclusions, let's wrap this pig up. We would not stay at the campground again. We would do everything else you've seen here. We have a full year to recover from all the sugar and cheese we pounded this week, and then we will likely do it again. If you have questions or comments about Wayne County, Ohio, let us know. Happy trails, fellow campers.